In this California king bed, we're 10,000 miles apart. I've been California dreaming on these stars for your heart, for me, my California king. What's up, CherishingFlo fam? Welcome back to my channel. We're all about love, positivity, being a girl boss, and everything in that vicinity. In today's video, we are going to be talking about what no one tells you about entrepreneurship. I think I actually did this video already, or did a video like it, but I have 10 new things that I don't think I talked about the last time. I don't think, because I really don't remember the video that well, on what they do not talk about with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is praised, it is great, and it is a wonderful thing, and I will never regret making the decision to become an entrepreneur and start my own business. But there's a whole lot of things about entrepreneurship that people do not talk to you about it until you're full and well and invested in it already, and then all of a sudden you're learning all of these hard lessons. And some of these things you may have heard, but you don't realize just how hard it hits until you're knee deep into entrepreneurship. And it's because of these things that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. If you're new to this channel, then go ahead and subscribe, turn the notification bell so you don't miss any future girl boss videos. If you're not new to this channel, then welcome back. Thank you for loving me as much as I love you. And yeah, let's get into this video. So the first thing that no one tells you about entrepreneurship is that you cannot do whatever, whenever you want. Your time is not your own. That is the biggest misconception about owning your own business. People always talk about how, oh, I have so much free time and da-da-da-da-da. And while that is true, once you've reached a certain level of success, when you first start off, you have deadlines, you have so much work you have to do. 9 times out of 10, you are working more than you ever did when you were working your 9-to-5 job. Entrepreneurship is hard. And therefore, your time is not your own. You do not have a whole loads and loads of free time in the beginning. As a matter of fact, you work hours and hours on end without an end in sight. You cannot do whatever, whenever you want as soon as you decide that you're going to start your own business. Once you take on that role of being an entrepreneur, your time is no longer your own. Your time is going to be invested into your business. Your time and your energy pretty much belongs to your business. The second thing that no one tells you about entrepreneurship is that at one point or another you're going to have to manage others. That's kind of a difficult one for me because I'm used to being responsible for myself and only myself, even when I worked jobs, and even if I had like a leadership position in jobs, I wasn't the boss, so I never felt like I was responsible for others. But when you own your own business, everybody who works under you and under your name, everything that happens is always looked at you at the end of the day. Nobody's gonna say, oh, such and such did this. No, they're gonna talk about the business itself. They're gonna talk about what the business does, and that's going to mess with your reputation. So you're really gonna have to keep an eye, and you're gonna have to be directly involved in managing your people and the people that are representing you in your business. That means people who are working on your website, people that are working on your social media, people that are working on products, people that are working on everything. You're going to have to manage those people, and that's gonna be a lot of work. That's one of the other things when you cannot do whatever, whenever, because even when you're not doing anything, you have to manage everybody who's doing everything, because if you don't, you have no idea what's going to be happening in your business, and for all you know, your reputation is being soiled because you do not have a good eye on your people. And it's going to be hard. You may be like all about entrepreneurship because you like to be by yourself, you like to work alone, but it does take a good bit of leadership skills as well in order to be a successful entrepreneur. The third thing they do not tell you about entrepreneurship, they do say how, you know, it's not an instant success, but what they don't say is how you are greatly disappointed a lot as an entrepreneur. There will be lots of opportunities that almost happen but don't quite make the cut. There will be lots of clients that almost sign but don't end up signing or disappear off the face of the earth. There's going to be so many huge disappointments, things that you get excited and hopeful for, because when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to get your business going, in order to be successful, you're going to be in a constant state of hope, and that it's going to be really hard for you when those things do not work out the way you want them to. There's going to be a lot of disappointment. Fourth thing that no one really tells you about is as you gain success in your business, even the small successes, even when it looks like it's successful on the outside looking in, people around you are gonna start to treat you differently. And when I say that, I know everybody says you lose a lot of friends, and that is true. Do not get me wrong. A lot of your friends, people you thought were really down for you, they're gonna start treating you a little funky because of their own personal insecurities. That's what you're gonna have to remember about that. Their own personal insecurities are going to be spilled onto you because you're going for your dreams, you're going for your goals, and they did not. Which is why your environment needs to be around people who are really going for their stuff just like you. However, another thing that nobody really talked to me about as much is how people who never would have talked to me otherwise, never would have spoken to me otherwise, and may have even looked down on me, will suddenly start being really nice, really helpful, really wanting to be involved in what I'm doing, and all of a sudden taking interest in me. Those are the type of things that nobody talked about when I first started the business. All of a sudden, I'm not talking about just your enemies, the people who teased you in school, that happens too, but I'm talking about people who were complete irrelevant strangers, are suddenly, who've seen you your whole life, never paid you no attention, but have seen you your whole life, are all of a sudden taking interest because they see that you're moving up in the world. So now they're just like, okay, I should pay attention to her because she's doing things. I should pay attention to him because he's making big moves. They're going to notice that, and they're going to start acting accordingly. Because when you see somebody moving up in the world, you suddenly want to attach yourself to that person so that you can move up in the world too. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be a little disconcerting because in your mind, especially if it's people who you recognize and you know you've never talked to, they've never acknowledged you before, suddenly they're being extra nice and extra helpful and wanting to be all involved in your life. It makes it seem very ingenuine. But the truth is that in life, when people move up in the world, people are going to want to attach themselves to you. You help them, they help you, and it's always good to make connections. So do not shut those people off. If you have people who were once mean to you and they want to come to you and they have something to offer and you can help them, do not shut that door completely in their face. Do be the bigger person and open that opportunity up for the both of you, because at the end of the day, it's going to make you look even better than if you just bossed up on them and decided to shut the door in their face and ignore the connection that you could have made in that area. I'm not saying that for everybody. Like, if they're just trying to be your friend and they don't have nothing to offer you, there's really no point in opening that door. But I'm saying if they have something to offer, they have a connection that could help, don't shut that door, you know? Be on the lookout for yourself. But that's something that some people talked about that nobody really talked about when I first got into entrepreneurship, that I actually kind of would have wanted a warning about. The next big thing is that depression is not only possible, but it's likely to come. Because when you're an entrepreneur, there are some really great highs where you're feeling on top of the world and you're just like, yes, I'm doing this, I'm really making moves. But there are also equally some really low lows where the business is not going well, you're not getting clients, and you're putting in all this work, time, and effort, and your body is exhausted, your mind is exhausted, and you are going to possibly get depressed. This is something that's very likely. I think most entrepreneurs hit a rock bottom at one point or another, and it's pretty normal, and it's something that they don't really talk about as much in business. Not just people who suffer from anxiety and depression anyway, but people who normally wouldn't have, because you're giving your all, your soul to something that matters so much to you. If it doesn't gleam successful, that's your dream pretty much looking like it's crumbling right in front of your eyes, and any normal person would get depressed when that happens. The key is to not stay depressed and to keep going and to keep moving forward and to get yourself out of that depression as fast as healthily possible, so that you can continue to chase your dream. Next thing that they don't really tell you in entrepreneurship is starting to come out a little bit more now, but I still feel like it needs to be said because it's not said enough, and nobody said it to me when I started, and that is that you need a mentor. And I don't necessarily mean a paid coach, because while that I feel like has a lot of benefits, I also feel like sometimes just somebody, a person, a key core individual who does something similar to what you do or does something that still will benefit you, learning from them, looking up to this one person and following the steps and not necessarily copying them, but learning from them so that you don't make the same mistakes that they made. A mentor is important because people who have already made it, people who are already successful, people who already reached a level of success are people who can help you reach that level of success and exceed that level of success just by showing you how you, at your younger age or at your lower level of experience, cannot make the same mistakes they did. They can show you the way, and that will make your life a lot easier. That will help you make less mistakes. That will help you learn a lot more without the failure that they had to go up against themselves. So yes, you need a mentor. This next thing that I wish somebody had told me about that I genuinely wasn't prepared for, but I'm starting to realize that it's just a part of life, and that is when you start your business, when you decide you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to receive advice from everyone. Rather, it is solicited or unsolicited advice. Not all the advice that you get is going to be advice that you need. Not all of the advice is going to be advice that you want. Not all of the advice is going to come from a good place, and some of it will. The biggest thing when it comes to entrepreneurship is learning who to take advice from. I do not take advice from every person that gives me advice. I get advice from aunts, uncles, parents, brothers, not brothers, but like friends, people that I meet on the street. If you're not where I want to be in life, then there's a very good chance that I'm not going to take your advice. There's no point in taking advice from somebody who's not doing any better than you are. As much as you would love to hear that advice, if you have not actively been through and gone through and made it through what I'm currently going through or what I'm trying to make it through and surpass, there's no point in me taking your advice. I may listen to what you have to say, take heed of it, and if it is relevant to me and it makes sense in what people who I do look up to are saying, if it goes with that, then I would take that into consideration. But I take very close care. I listen to everybody. When they talk to me, I sit and I listen and I'm respectful. I'm not saying cut people off and be rude when they're trying to help you, especially if it's coming from a good place. If it's somebody who loves you and they're genuinely trying to help you, listen to them. They may, you know, I'm not saying don't listen to them, but do not start applying things to your life that you get from everybody, even people that are 20 years older than you, because unless they're 20 years older than you and also an entrepreneur that is successful, their business advice is not going to be as helpful as you think. And that may sound harsh, and I know people who are 20, 30 years older than me, they're going to be like, I've lived through this and I've lived through that. I said, yes, but have you lived through it and gotten to the success that you need to get to in the field that I want to go at? Everybody cannot walk down the same path. And if your life has no similarities to mine, then your advice may not actually be relevant to my life. My parents sometimes give me advice, and I love them both. I listen to them both. I respect them both, and I know that they know things that I do not know. But also, where they want to go in their lives and what they've been through in their lives may not be relevant to where I want to go and what I'm going through in my life. So you have to know what is relevant to you. You have to pay attention to that. Respect everyone, but do not go applying everybody's advice to your life, and do not be so easily swayed, because people are going to advise you that maybe you should quit, maybe you should do this, maybe you shouldn't go for it so hard because of this, that, and the other. Do not be so easily swayed. Do not let the advice of people who haven't been through what you've been through, and people who are not where you want to be, do not let them influence you so bad that you completely change course when it comes to your business and your goals, because that will be the biggest mistake that you have ever made in your life. You listen to the experts, not the people who watch the experts, or the people who are watching you and just making observation of what they think they see from the outside. That's something that nobody really told me. I knew that, you know, I couldn't listen to everybody and I couldn't have a bunch of different people in my ear. But what I did not know, what I was not told, is that in actuality, I'm going to get advice from every single person who is older than me, and some people who are even the same age as me when I tell them that I have a business. I get advice from everybody. Everybody. Some of it I take, some of it I do not. The next thing that not everybody's going to tell you is that networking is key. Connectivity is key. Attaching yourself to as many people as possible is key, both in your field and out of your field. I have made a keynote to make friends with other social media managers and consultants, because we learn from each other. We give each other good advice, and if one of us has more clients than we need, we can easily take those clients and give them to the other. You have no idea how beneficial having those connections can be. Some people who may not fit, their desires may not fit what I can do, and it may fit somebody who I know, and vice versa. That is why connecting is important. Connecting with people who are not related to your field but can connect you to the right people, can connect you to people who help you grow your business, can connect you to people who help your business be more promoted. That word of mouth is powerful. The more people you're connected to, the more people you talk to, the more people that you make bonds with. I'm not saying you gotta be best friends with everybody. I know a lot of people, if you're anything like me, I am an introvert. I kid you not. I do not like being around a bunch of people. I do not like having crowds. I'm not very good at the initial socialization. It's a struggle for me. It really is. But it's something that I've had to actively work on, and it's made a difference in both my life, my creativity, and my ability to do better for my clients and within my business. So networking is one of the most important things that you can do. The next thing that is something that that nobody tells you about entrepreneurship is that you can get lost in the sauce if you're not careful. And when I say that, I mean that you can get so invested in your business that you neglect family, friends, and your own mental health. And while it is okay to be focused on your business, spend those hours and everything, you need to make sure that your life has balance. And sometimes your balance may not be exactly balanced. Balance does not mean you spend equal amount of time with family and friends as you do on your business, because a lot of times you're going to spend way more time on your business than you are going to talking to family and friends. But you need to make sure that your family and friends and you are still having that connectivity and that bond, because that success is not going to mean as much if they're not right beside you, if they feel like you focus so much on your business that now your business is more important than God. And you have to be very mindful of that connectivity is important, and that includes with the people in your close-knit circle. Please still pay attention to your parents. Please still pay attention to your significant other. Now, significant others are going to have to learn that sometimes the business is going to have a focus and it's going to be very difficult to spend the time they may want. But make sure that you're also spending time to keep that love alive. Like, do not neglect everything else in your life trying to make your business work, because it's going to drive you crazy and eventually your mental health will deplete. And the last thing that nobody tells you about entrepreneurship is that your very first clients, between your very first 3 clients, you know, the ones that you get all excited about that make you feel like you're a real entrepreneur, that you're really out here doing stuff, are likely to be the source of your business horror story. I'm going to say the first client. The first client is usually the worst client you'll ever have. That's usually the client that tries to take advantage of you, especially if they know you're their first client. They're your first client. That's usually the client that is all up under you. That's usually the client that undermines you, doesn't respect your expertise or whatever because of your lack of experience. That's going to be the client that does not talk to you the way you want to be talked to. That's going to be the client that confuses you the most. It's going to be the client that you have the hardest time with. Your very first client, as excited as you're going to be to get them, is probably going to be the worst client of your life. That's going to be the client that you do story times about. That's going to be the client that you talk to people about and you're going to be like, oh my God, that drove me crazy. I can't stand them. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's what that client is going to be. And nobody tells you that. Everybody's like, oh, congrats on your first client. And you're going to be all excited. You're like, yes, I have a first client. And the client's going to seem really great and nice at first. But in the beginning, it tends to be like your first client or your first, one of the first 3 clients are just like, they make you want to pull all of your hair out. And you're going to appreciate the experience that you get from that client, but it's still going to be a horrid experience and it's going to be a lot to deal with. But trust me, it is a blessing in disguise, and it'll give you more expertise, and it'll also show you that you need to be more picky about who you work with in the future. Know your target audience for your business. Even if different type of people utilize what you sell, you need to have a target audience. And your first bad client experience, especially if you just take the first person that offers to pay you for your services, you're gonna learn from that you're gonna have to be a lot more specific and make sure that the needs needed and the needs given match. And that's so do personality, so the levels of respect, especially if you're a freelancer it's like an ongoing of communication type of thing for your client, especially that you're going to want to be very careful about who your clientele is. I'm very picky. If we do not have good vibes, I don't do it. Period. I will not work for anybody who does not respect me. I will not work for anybody who does not respect what I do. I will not work for anybody who feels as if they know more about what I do than me, to the point that they're not going to let me do my job, because then I already know that they're going to be a difficult client. Social media managers, for example, are horrible clients for other social media managers. So that's not one of the clientele that I would take. I ain't finna deal with all of that. So you have to be very mindful of who it is that you take on as a client. So those are the things that nobody tells you about entrepreneurship. Hopefully there's some things in there that you have never heard before. If there is, then go ahead and let me know in the comment section below and give this video a big thumbs up. If there's anything about entrepreneurship that you feel like nobody talks about nearly enough, and then go ahead and leave that in the comment section down below. If you're new to this channel and you haven't already, then go ahead and subscribe and turn your notification bell so you don't miss any future girl boss videos. If you're not new to this channel and you've made it this far into the video, leave an animal emoji, any animal you want, an animal emoji in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.